I'm not much 23,
And I'm Choasassassin,
and
and this
this is Gamer
is Gamer
Experience.
Experience. And today we have a very special guest with us today. Goes by the name of
Backseat Gorilla Productions,
thank you. I completely spaced it.
or Backseat Gorilla as he's going towards.
So, Backseat, tell us a little bit about like your gaming knowledge.
So, hello everybody. My name is Backseat Gorilla Productions, Sean, whatever you want. And I have been gaming for since let's see, 1986, 87, something like that. Started off with the original Nintendo Entertainment System. My grandmother just loved to watch me shoot the ducks and
Oh
jump
yes,
around with
definitely.
Mario. So I've been doing that and progressed throughout the years through many different consoles and eventually moved on to my primary gaming method right now. And my system of choice is a Windows PC.
Impressive. You have so many more years gaming than I do. You've been gaming longer than I've been alive. That that that's That's amazing. Now that just makes me think of, okay, like, how old are you exactly?
I
You said
am
you started when you were a kid, so I mean you're probably not that much older than me.
I'm approaching 40 pretty rapidly here.
Hey, that's still some good gaming. That's a lot of time to spend gaming. And how has gaming really evolved over the years since you've started with an NES and has moved up to what it is? Like, how much has it actually changed? Do you have a better scope of how it's changed than someone like me who's only been gaming for the past 20 years or so?
Wow. So it's a big question and it's a big answer, in my opinion. So how has gaming evolved since the NES to modern day? And I would have to say, even going further back than the NES into the Ataris and, Frogger, even Pong for that matter. We're
Graphics
talking
would be an obvious, but that's beside the point.
graphics, speed, is another one. Jumping around with Mario, that mechanic in the NES was just groundbreaking, and it's still kind of the go-to mechanic. I was talking to somebody the other day, and we were discussing how playing like Mario knockoffs or ROMs is completely different than playing it on original hardware. Games just have a feel to them. But going back to the question, moving around with the character on screen, such as Mario, which is basically you can jump up and down and the background scrolls, to what something that I do or try to do on a weekly basis is play Beat Saber or other virtual reality games in VR, where I'm fully immersed in a 360-degree environment. I've got the controllers strapped to my hands. I don't even have to hold them; they're held there by their own tension, and I can feel almost like it's almost like a sixth sense, is being fully immersed in an environment such as Half-Life Alyx, where if a head crab comes at you, man, you jump. You'll fall on your
That's
backside real
insane.
quick.
That's just insane to think about. Originally for you, that just the jumping mechanic in Mario, all the way to now, it's so realistic that you feel like you're. That's just really insane to think that that's been that big of a jump in. Let's see,
Less
you
than
said
40
you,
years.
yeah, that's really impressive.
It's crazy. It is. And then, you've got Moore's Law. I'm a bit of a computer nerd slash enthusiast, and Moore's Law is that every whatever it is, every cycle your memory is going to double and the size is going to half. And nowadays we're getting to the point where Moore's Law is just about done running its course, where we've just about got these things optimized to do the best they can do. Like, what else can it do? It's rendering,
Well,
immersive 3D environments. What else do you want it to do?
I, what I keep seeing is that they're making a VR headset for people that like the anime Sword Art Online, where if you die in the game, it will actually kill you. which I feel would be hilarious to put on like death row inmates or things like that, and just throw them into like Five Nights at Freddy's, Dark Souls, or just one of those games. One of those kind of games that it's just like, yeah, no, you're meant to die.
I don't know, man. I've seen that thing. It's a crazy invention. I'm personally not for it. I don't think it has a place in this world. But
I'm
for I don't know. That's just my
similar
opinion.
similar to the famous rule of Rule 34. If it's out there, there's adult content of it. If people want it out there, somebody's gonna do it.
Oh yeah, somebody's gonna do it. I mean, regardless of what anybody says, if somebody
I'm
wants
just
it
more
done.
curious, is like, okay, who's going to be testing the fail safes on that? Because apparently they're making it to where like it's actually like it was in Sword Art Online, where you couldn't take it off, nobody could take it off. It's just like, why are we trying to turn Sword Art Online into a reality? Because if so, depending on the game, I might sign up. I might not. It depends. Is there going to be a crazy person to lock me in there? Because let's be honest, I'm good, but I die a lot in certain games because limit testing. Because any RPG that I've done, you have to limit test with certain ones. So,
Yeah,
what was
I
the
read
topic for today? Not much. I don't remember.
Well, I was going to get to that after looking at our listener mail, which
Wait,
unfortunately
we have listener mail?
well, just promotional stuff for the podcast. Me and Backseat coordinating this time, and that's it. But if you want to send us question, comment, character story,
We started that last podcast, telling crazy stories about various things that you've done, whether it be tabletop,
video game,
video game, or things you've heard or have dealt with as a player or watched somebody do. I forgot about that.
our recurring character story series. Our email address is all lowercase gamersperience@gmail.com. That's GAMERSPERIENCE at gmail.com, as in Google's mail service. Once again, that's Golf Alpha Mike Echo Romeo Sierra Papa Echo Romeo India Echo November Charlie Echo at gmail.com. And this week's topic is video game centric. It is PC versus console.
Well, I believe I know I have both experience with both PC and console. Backseat, you obviously have things with both. Yeah, all of us have sides with both. What is each of our preferred mode of playing? Mine would have to be console.
I am Windows PC.
PC?
For me, it depends, honestly. Some games I believe are better on consoles, some games are better on PC.
That's fair.
I agree with that.
For me, I prefer console if I'm just, casually playing. But most of the time, if, like, for instance, I'm actually gonna attempt to stream probably later today. I don't know if it's gonna be Fallout or not. I have to double check my mods on Skyrim because mods mods are a very, very wonderful thing.
Oh, aren't they?
Oh yeah.
I have to fix some of the mods because they've been crashing my game. Specifically, I'll load in. I'm in third person view. I'm wearing nothing, and I can't use my mouse and keyboard. I can use enough to move around and move the camera, but that's it. That is the extent of my gameplay. I can't access my inventory or anything else.
Yeah, that is a problem.
Yeah. Definitely presents its challenges. I run into
Yeah.
that quite often where I have a game that will update, and unfortunately, most of the time it breaks all of the mods. And then since the mods are user generated, Which is another great thing about the PC gaming community and, people gathering around specific games. The
Yeah.
modding communities that are out there, on the games that I like to play, the modders are on top of it, and usually it's just a quick change that they have to make in the code
Well,
and
the issue is
back up.
the mods I have, when I downloaded them, they worked, and then Skyrim just got out of the blue a random update because Bethesda. So I like 2/3 of the mods say, yeah, no, we aren't compatible with this version of the game. It's like, nah, shit.
Yep.
I'm aware it just updated. The game hasn't been updated in years, and out of the blue update. So
Gotta love it, right?
yeah, gotta love Bethesda.
Oh, it's not just Bethesda either.
It happens with City Skylines.
Beat Saber
How
is
old
notorious
is
for updating.
well, Beat Saber is, a somewhat newer game, but like Skyrim hadn't gotten an update in years, and then they released the new one, and then it got an update for that, and then just out of the blue, after not being updated for like 8 months, update that just
Nice.
screwed with all of my mods. Like, damn it.
Speaking of, so on some games in Steam, you can go in and you can turn updates off. And then on some games, you can, they have 3 or 4 different options, but you, as a developer or whoever uploads it, I guess the devs, they have the option to take some of those options away. So, all these games, I have to go in and change the folder path name and all kinds of stuff just to make them so they
Yeah.
don't update. So many workarounds.
And
So,
then if you miss it and it does update, Steam doesn't always allow you to go back to a previous thing, which
mhm.
just is just like, I don't want this version. I want the other version. It didn't crash with all my things. I don't care about your supposed bug fixes. Bethesda, you have there's literally a mod to fix the bugs you refuse to fix. How bad do you have to be to have it to where a fan fixes your game? Like, seriously. I know I'm ripping on Bethesda, but it's like there's so many of the Bethesda games that's like unofficial patch that fixes 90% of the problems that are very common in a lot of things. I lost on my PlayStation. I was trying to do a 100% trophy thing, and I was doing the beacon quest in Skyrim, where a new hand has touched the beacon, and she literally tells you to go say it. I had it to where I didn't have the invincibility after completing it when she stops talking to you, so I would just fall constantly. It wouldn't let me go back a save or anything to beforehand or anything. I literally got stuck in a perpetual loop of just falling. I couldn't enter my inventory because it was technically a cutscene, so I couldn't even eat, an eagle's feather or use the become ethereal shout. I literally got stuck there, and I had gotten a good chunk of them done. I was like level 40.
Oh, that
It's
blows.
like, yeah.
Yeah, the time sink. Oof.
But if I would have, I could have downloaded the unofficial patch mod, which would have fixed that. The issue is then I would have gotten no trophies for it. But at the same time, I have Skyrim for both my PC and my PlayStation. I
I've got
prefer
it for
playing.
PC and Switch. God, how many times
Okay,
are they going to make you buy the game?
I know, right? Okay, my biggest issue, because I tried it on the Switch, I hate the lock picking on the Switch. It is so touch sensitive. It is not funny. Even with turning down the sensitivity, it is actually so much more difficult for me to do it on that than it is any other time. I've
Yeah.
never put points into my lock picking.
Yeah, I
And
don't even
when I
play it.
did it played it on the Switch, I had to put points into it because I couldn't line it up without it just overshooting it or undershooting it. It was so difficult. It's just like, yeah, no, this is no.
And you couldn't use a controller instead?
Well, it's on the Switch. I was using the Joy-Cons and everything.
I got the
Ooh.
Pro controller.
Well,
But I still haven't really gotten that far. Like I swapped over to PC. It was on Steam sale, and I was like, yeah, I'm not that too
yeah,
far into this game, so let's just go ahead and pick this up.
I've put a couple 100 hours into Skyrim. More so on my PlayStation because it wasn't up until a few months ago that I actually got my gaming PC actually up and running and effective. It works for what I need it to. I typically choose to play older games, and I just enjoy it. When I do have to say that when it comes to PC versus console, the mods make PC gaming so much nicer. It really does. But
That's
at the same time, I prefer, as far as like cost efficiency wise, I prefer console because you don't always have to constantly update your PC and change out parts, and it's not as expensive to let's say your PlayStation or something crashes. Okay, it's what, 400 or 500 bucks to get a new PlayStation, whereas if your motherboard goes out, it's how much for a new motherboard?
I mean, motherboards are around $150.
But if it doesn't have the right compatibility with your processor or your RAM or any of that, that was literally one of the issues that I didn't fully realize that was an actual thing. My friend got all of his stuff, and if it weren't for the fact that he was able to do returns and everything else, he would have dropped almost 4 grand on just trying to get his PC back up and running because he tried to upgrade the RAM and it just fucked his entire system.
Yeah, it's frustrating in that regard. It's also, it kind of brings you, where you were saying that the cost of entry. And with a console, you're right, the cost of entry is going to be $400 to $600 depending on, whatever you get. And with a modern gaming PC, you can get one for about, $1,500, $2,000 for a really nice one. Since the graphics card crypto mining thing has kind of tumbled, the price of graphics cards is becoming, and I say this guardedly, become reasonable. And by reasonable, I mean I mean you can get a brand new 3080 for in the $1,200 range, which I know it's twice the price of the money, twice the price of a brand new Xbox or a PS5. But my question is, how long is that graphics card going to last you? 10 years? How long is the console going to last you? And also, like, what else are you going to do with your PC? I'm a content
Yeah,
creator, so I do editing, I do Photoshop, I do, all kinds of stuff. So for me, it makes sense.
yeah,
Um,
most
and
definitely.
like on consoles, another thing that you have to consider is the disc tax. That's not such a
That
thing anymore, but they're still charging $70 for Modern Warfare for a digital download on Xbox. you know,
yeah, that is something. I'm sorry, the gaming companies. I'm sorry, you have our business. Why are you gouging the price? I remember when you could buy games for $50. Brand new game, $49.99. I remember that. Then it jumped up to $60. Now it's 70. I hear that apparently they're gonna try to bump it up to 80. Like, why?
another advantage of PC gaming, and also an advantage of not having to have the latest and greatest of everything, is Steam sales.
Yes. I did not realize. My friend was telling me, how he got Borderlands 2, Borderlands 3 with all DLCs and everything through a Steam sale for $10.
I did that. And Epic gives away 2 free games a week. Usually one
Yeah.
of them is a halfway decent game and the other one sucks, but I mean, it's still
It, it
free content,
yeah. And I
And you
mean, you
don't
don't
have
have
to
to.
install it.
I had a disconnect because I was a console PC and then just console, and then now I'm getting back to console and PC. There's a lot more benefits to just PC gaming for me because it's easier for me to get most of the games I want. So many people have Steam. It's just as easy. It's like, oh, here, let me just gift you this game that's on your wish list. Whereas you can't exactly do that with like Xbox and PlayStation. They don't exactly have a wish list that your friends can see and buy things for you.
It's a really nice feature.
It really is.
On the flip
That
side of things, like I expect to pay the Mario tax as well. Like I said, I started with Mario, so every time there's a new NES or a new Nintendo system that comes out, like, oh, there goes $500 just to play Mario.
Yeah, I do agree with that. I started my gaming career on Pokemon and Zelda.
Yep, you've got it too.
So so trust me, I know I just finished paying the 120 bucks for Scarlet and Violet for the Switch, and you can't you 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 can't just like keep doing that. Just like seriously, they're so tight on that. Nintendo is I love Nintendo. I really do. I've been a Nintendo fan for years. If it wasn't for the fact of Nintendo, I don't think gaming would be where it is today if it was not for Nintendo, Sega, and Atari. I really don't.
I agree with that totally.
But you can't play any Nintendo game non-Nintendo. The best chance you have are the various ROMs, which they are just now allowing people to ROM black and white, which 90% of the emulators that I've tried to, just to say, okay, can this does not work with any DS game. I just can't get any of the DS emulators to work. And sometimes, I'm sorry, I don't necessarily want to have to bring out any of my DSs, but you can't play any of the things like that. And that's the one thing I'm not a fan of is with Nintendo, they own all of the rights to that, and they don't let anybody out because we don't talk about the PC Zelda games that came out. We don't talk about those.
You mean the CDI?
We don't talk about those.
Oh,
It literally was that instant that made it to where Nintendo will never give another company access to their stuff. It's why we won't have any Nintendo things on like PlayStation, PC, Xbox. They won't.
yeah, and yeah, it's very recently. I say very recently, within the past few months, I think, PlayStation has, and effectively Sony has, cut a deal with Steam, so you can get PlayStation games on Steam now. Xbox has their game bar, and of course, they're incorporated with Windows. So it's not like the other companies aren't moving in that direction. It's just Nintendo is standing firm on, that Apple economy or Apple-like economy.
Yeah, and I love Nintendo. I have for years because I've been playing Pokemon for 20 something years. That's where I started at. I still play, and it's just getting to the point that's like I can't afford that. And I'm sorry, I'd love to play some games, on various things. It's just like I don't like the idea of Nintendo becoming like Apple because I don't like Apple. I really don't. The lightning cables and everything else, no.
Actually, very much on topic, something I wanted to talk about too was the freedom that you have on PC versus console. And the Apple
That
Lightning cable and the proprietary store and iTunes and all that good stuff, like, and mods. You can't mod an iPhone app, but you can certainly mod a PC app.
yeah,
Um,
on a computer, you could play games that are on PlayStation or on Xbox, and those are more likely to have crossplay with one of the things than actual crossplay. That's a one thing that I've found that crossplay is not easy to do. The entire reason I got into Warframe is me and my friends were under the assumption that it was crossplay, we could all play together. No, it was not. Supposedly it is, but they promised that back at the start of the year. But crossplay is another thing that I feel hinders most of the gaming community itself. What it doesn't matter where you're on console or PC, crossplay I think needs to be across the board.
I think we're moving in that direction. I think unfortunately, it's the free to pay to win, free
Yeah.
to play, pay to win games that are pushing that movement.
Which I'm sorry, I really hate some of the pay to wins. I
Oh yeah,
really do.
like I started Apex Legends recently just to play with my friends, honestly.
That's the entire reason I re-downloaded it, is to play with some of my friends.
And it's crossplay between PC and Switch. And then I looked at another game. It was another FPS, but it was only compatible. Like you could do PC to Xbox, but Switch was on its own little standalone island, and like Sony and Xbox could communicate or something, but not Sony and PC. It's some weird triangle of crossplay, and it just needs to be standardized.
I don't remember what game it was, but you could crossplay with PC, Xbox, and Switch, but not PlayStation.
Was it Overwatch 2, maybe? That sounds right, but I don't know.
I don't remember, but like the two Nintendo and Sony, I'm sorry, they get shafted on so many of the cross-play systems to where they're just not allowed because of the policies that they have. Sony does not want to budge on the crossplay, and neither does Nintendo. I know those are two titans of companies, but if there's going to be anything that is going to be their downfall, I feel it's going to be their stance on crossplay and not necessarily budging on it, or it's going to be the fact that phones are going to get so advanced that there's not going to be a need for those things. I mean, the Switch, I believe, is going to be the last Nintendo console, and they're literally just going to switch to handheld because they've just dominated that market for years, since the original Game Boy.
And I think that this is going to be like the last generation of true consoles, because I honestly see that like the next PlayStation and Xbox really just be like fancy streaming boxes that can stream games to like a smart TV and connect controllers.
I don't think it's going to get to that point as far as this this next coming generation. I think the next coming generation for it is going to be, they're just going to be basically high-end computers without Windows, Linux, or any of those operating systems.
Oh, they're already at that point right now.
I mean like top of the line.
Yeah.
Like higher than what they are right now.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's definitely going to increase. Like, and one thing that I think is going to happen, bringing in this new couple of generations of consoles, going to the lack of physical media, which obviously doesn't matter anymore, thanks Overwatch 1. Like, the lack of physical media, it's a Netflix phenomenon too now. Because you've got these games that can be there 1 minute, and then somebody decides that they don't want to support it, they want to pull the plug, and then it's gone, and you can never play it again, and there goes your money. Like, I don't like that. And backing up on a hard drive, saving it remotely, keeping the thing offline, and transferring media, from portable device to your PC, back and forth. Like, that's the only way to stop all of that, really. From stuff just vanishing. If you got an NES cartridge and you plug it in, it works. You have an Overwatch 1 disc, if you have a disk drive. If you put it into your disk drive and launch the program, it won't play. They killed everything. Like, there's a whole thing about it online.
I heard something about the fact that, there are people who, they went to, play Overwatch, and they've been playing on the physical disc, and then Overwatch 2 came out, and they can't even do Overwatch 2 because the disc won't read it, and they can't go Overwatch 1 or anything. So they literally have a worthless disc that there's nothing to do with.
Yeah, I've got one myself. I paid extra for it at Target because it came with extra characters or something.
Yeah, but it's that right there, just like, okay, why would you do something like that? The one that I heard, the fact that they just got rid of Overwatch 1 altogether and just replaced it with Overwatch 2, is just like, that's not right.
And then in order to purchase all of the skins,
that's still not right.
In order to go back and purchase all the legacy skins, it would cost, one article I read stated it would be over $10,000 to get all of the skins in Overwatch 1.
Holy
and
shit.
They don't transfer.
That's
a ridiculous amount of money. No. Thanks, Bethesda or whoever's
that'd be
Overwatch.
Activision
Blizzard.
Oh, that's why it's Activision. That explains it right there. Activision. I see so many things on YouTube, TikTok, and everything else about just how little Activision actually cares. Just like, how is Activision still a company? They are screwing over more gamers than Bethesda. And it's re-release of the re-release of the re-release of Skyrim, the 8th time it's been released.
Well, I mean,
That's a meme we find funny now. Activision, what the fuck?
I mean, how is Electronic Arts still a company?
I don't even know what that is.
EA?
That's actually what it stands for?
Yeah, Electronic Arts.
I did not know that. All I know is EA is EA Sports. It's in the game.
Then it went from EA, challenge everything. And now it's like EA, charge for everything.
Let's be fair. They are by far the kings of the microtransactions pay to win. That's literally what EA is now. Bethesda is the company that's literally just milking the crap out of Skyrim because they can't come up with anything, to match Skyrim. They can't match Skyrim, so they're just milking everything they can. That is their lifeline. If it was not for the fact of them milking the crap out of Skyrim, I don't think Bethesda would still be afloat. Actually, I don't think it is, because I think some company bought them out. I don't remember.
Microsoft.
EA literally microtransactions everything, and Activision just says, screw you players, we just want your money. Give us your money. Give us your money. Give us your money. We have this fancy thing. Give us your money. It's like the only company that I know of that actually does kind of care about its players is Nintendo. Go ahead, throw your Xbox or PlayStation controller across the room in a fit of rage. They will not work. You can pitch a Nintendo controller across the house and it will still work, unless it's the right Joy-Con, because Joy-Con drift. But that I pitched and slammed GameCube controllers because I still have a working GameCube, and you can shake it. You can hear the things rattling in it. As long as I hold it at the right angle, it still works perfectly fine. But you do that with any of the modern control, not going to work. It's just not. Nintendo is a family-oriented company that more adults play than children.
But what do you think the games that do better on are better on consoles and are better on PC?
Depends on the developer, in my opinion. If the game was written for console, then it will be optimized for console. Where I kind of have the disconnect myself is when you get into PlayStation Pros and whatever upgraded system later on down the road, claiming that it'll take that original game and play it better. Well, I mean, maybe it can, but the developer, it should have been on them in the first place to realize the technical limitations of the console that they're developing for, and have enough overhead room when they were making the thing. So yeah, I think that some games are optimized better for consoles, and taking console games and porting them to PC, specifically PlayStation games, is a challenge because they're written completely different. Xbox is more, it's my understanding, I don't really know, but the Xbox games are more like a PC coding system. So like you can overrun a game with hardware and make it unplayable. You're playing some of the old NES ROMs on a modern day gaming computer. If you didn't throttle your frame rate and everything else, then the thing would just be a little dot just flickering around your screen.
That's literally what the issue with certain emulators is. They will sit and they will throttle you to like 20 frames a second, because otherwise the games literally can't load what they need to load fast enough for that. For me, I'd have to say, honestly, because I've tried FPSs on both console and PC, I have an easier time with FPSs on PC than console. But MMOs, I prefer on PC as well. Things that are like adventure games, like Skyrim, Fallout 4, things that are like that, I'm sorry, if you're not doing mods, I'd say console is better for a lot more of those RPG-like games, more so than the PC. That's just my personal opinion, though.
I think, well, for me, it comes down to mainly the interface. Like platformers, racing games, first-person shooters, I believe do better on consoles because they do better with the controller. And like simulation games and management games, stuff like that, work better on a PC because they work better with a mouse and keyboard. I remember actually, after we got a PlayStation, back when Electronic Arts was actually not evil yet, we got an EA game, and I think there's an offer in there for like another EA PS1 game, and we got SimCity 2000. That's really a game that pretty much runs and plays so much better with keyboard and a mouse.
That's my issue with MMOs, because I tried Final Fantasy 14 on my PlayStation, and I didn't like the feel of it. The interface for me is just like no, and so
Yeah.
I have it for that. Out of curiosity, have you tried the VR on consoles? That's what my question is. Like, how does VR feel different when it's on a console versus on a PC?
I have not personally tried the PlayStation VR, and just going on technical specifications, most of your standalone VR headsets like the Meta Quest and also your plugged headsets, your corded headsets, your Vives and your Indexes, are going to offer you better resolution. And I mean, it's another one of those, the right tool for the right job. You're going to be limited to what the developers are offering on those consoles. You're going to pay the Sony tax on top of, whatever they're charging for the game. At this point in time, I just don't recommend a console VR experience. There's more games, and I'm not a big Facebook fan, but unfortunately, Facebook/Meta is leading the VR industry, as well as Steam. But really, Meta's trying to grab up as many developers and have them develop for console exclusivity. Here we go again. It's the same story, different consoles.
So let me get this straight. Facebook, or now is known as Meta, is now trying to get into the gaming industry.
Oh yes, Oculus was purchased by Facebook years and years ago. Oculus.
I actually did not know that, and this is not going to go well from them. Because I'm sorry, if I get a VR headset and I get a bunch of fucking notifications like people did for Farmville and to check their farm, I'm pitching it across the house.
There was a huge thing with the Quest 2 when it came out. They Facebook, Meta, whoever, those people were requiring you to either sign up for Facebook or use your existing login for Facebook in order to use the Meta Quest 2 headset. They since then have removed that requirement due to so much public backlash.
I had a Facebook. I got rid of it because I just didn't like the drama, and I feel better since I got rid of it. I don't like social media because social media has gotten to the point in the world that it's just toxicity, and that's the thing I'm really disliking with YouTube and all these YouTube shorts is just the amount of toxicity from it. Because I'll just get flooded with things for like Andrew Tate, LGBTQ. It just gets flooded with both sides, and that's all I hear. I'm sorry. I remember back when YouTube was used for music and watching Smosh videos. Back when Anthony and Ian were the only two members of Smosh. That's what I remember YouTube from as. That and cat videos.
Cat videos. I got into YouTube watching basically Adam the Woo. Not to get on a YouTube rant, but yeah, it has devolved into just a cesspool of toxicity. Of course, I'm an older man, and I don't really particularly enjoy short form content. I like a lot of educational content. I like documentaries. I like researching different games. As a content creator, I keep on the latest tech trends. But, if you look at my videos, here's my plug, bgp.rip. No, check out my YouTube channel, Backseat Gorilla Productions, sometime if you feel like it. I'll learn how to talk eventually, too. Drop a sub if you'd like to. I'd appreciate it. But I just like to show my real life, and the stuff that I'm interested in. I don't try to make some top 10 lists or,
I actually liked some of like the top 10 lists, but the top 10 list I watched was Matthew Centaro, where he'd do like the top 10 creepiest creepypastas or something like that. But I haven't seen like any of his content in a while. One of my favorite content creators, I actually would occasionally watch him on Twitch. I'm actually really hoping he's okay. He's a Canadian Twitch and YouTube creator, My Dry Bread has done all sorts of different Pokemon challenges. He's actually one of the people that helped make the "Can I beat Pokemon Fire Red with one Rattata?" Like his video blew up in popularity, and then after that, just so many other people started copying that. He didn't start it, but I believe it was one of his videos that really blew up and caused it. Last I heard, he got sick and just he posted a month ago and just like, I haven't seen anything from him. I really do hope he's all right because he is one of the content creators I do enjoy. He did a video a day for 10 years as a Twitch streamer and a content creator. How hard for you would that be to do?
Oh man, that's a lot of work. I mean, you could even at bare bones, just doing it TikTok style, that's still, 30, 45 minutes out of your day every single day.
These are full streams, full 15, 20-minute videos where he's also the editor as well. He talked about it so often that he doesn't do it as often because it got too much for him, which is understandable. He's now able to do, 30, 40-minute long videos, which I prefer some longer videos.
I really hate to stop this discussion, but this is going for a little long.
I find it funny. We started with how gaming has evolved, differences between gaming, crapping on various gaming companies, making jokes about gaming companies, to content creation and what YouTube's become.
Bring it full circle. Where do you go to find out about the latest and greatest video games and what you have to buy to get good? YouTube.
Yeah, that's gamer experience.
It's been a lot of fun, guys. Thank you for having me on the show. I really appreciate the invite.
Thank you for being on the show.
Oh, most definitely. Well, I'm Choasassassin.
I'm Not Much 23.
I'm Backseat Gorilla.
And this was Gamer Experience.
And go have your own gamer experience.